Hi, everybody. This is Scott with the Sonic Collective, joined by Scott, Darren, and Alan for May's Pick 2018. Hi, how are you today? By Ashley MacIsaac. No joke this time, Darren? Son of a...
No.
Okay. It was released in Canada in 1995. Ashley MacIsaac is from Nova Scotia, and what I found is about every 10, 20 years is this massive wave of music that seems to erupt out of there and catch fire in Canada. Some of the contemporaries around that time were also Sloan, Sarah McLachlan, Holly Cole, all came out of that region, whether it's the Isles or right in from Halifax. And I will reserve my thoughts for a little bit later. I'm going to throw over to Darren initially and see what he thought of the album.
Sure, thanks. This was an interesting pick for me because I was actually born in Newfoundland and raised in Prince Edward Island. So being a proud Maritimer represents, I thought this was a good pick. I mean, he's considered, I guess for a while, a maritime royalty. But had a bit of a dark patch. I mean, I'm sure we all discovered that. But he kind of hit it big with one album and then kind of went haywire after that. And might have been a crack cocaine addict. Well,
yes.
Not might have been. Actually, admittedly, and he got high one time and sold his fiddle for $25 for crack.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Like,
he could have got at least twice that.
Yeah, at least. So, I mean, this guy had a bit of a troubled past. He was a bit of a tortured soul, but he was from Cape Breton, actually, which, I mean, if you're from Nova Scotia, you know, they don't usually like to be called Nova Scotians. It's fine, but they prefer being Cape Bretoners. So, he came from a small town, Cape Breton, actually not too far from kind of where you cross to get on it is an island, but it's connected by just a bridge. But he's from a really small town, and it was really known from a massive influx of Scottish settlers. And so a lot of people just assume this music is Irish influenced, and the Maritimes is very Irish and Scottish influenced, but his style is particularly Scottish. Even in his name, like in the Maritimes, it's a big deal to know if you're a Mick or a Mac, an M-A-C. And it doesn't matter whether that's MacIsaac, McDonald's, you know, McDonough, whatever it will be. But a Mick or Mac can make a big difference. And really, the Mick or Mac, all that means is son of. A lot of people don't even realize that. Like, if you're a McDonald, you're the son of Donald. Oh, there you go. I probably just taught somebody something.
Or if you're crisscross, you're Mickety, Mickety, Mickety Mac.
You know, or we do. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, interesting fellow. But I love the music. I mean, I was raised in it. Every time I go back to the Maritimes and PEI, where my family is now, first thing I do is hit like places like the Old Dublin pub and watch these fiddlers, local maritime fiddlers. So I really liked it, the album. It has just a lot in it. It was kind of, funny enough, I actually found it kind of poppy because I think maybe I was more used to some traditional music, but I mean, Sleeping Maggie's, you know, such a great song. Yeah. And some other ones on there. I really like Devil in the Kitchen. Spoon Boy's very traditional song there. Like you hear that kind of song a lot. And what's the other? Wingstock too. You know, those are very, to me, sound like the very maritime songs. There's kind of a contemporary called, his name is Richard Wood, and he's from Prince Edward Island. He plays some amazing stuff there. I have more stuff, but like let's keep on. Let's kick it over to Alan. What do you think?
I just poured myself a dram of scotch to go along with this review because it definitely put me in the mood for some Celtic influence. Mm-hmm. So, and it's an Ardbeg, in case you're wondering. Delicious.
You're such a snob.
I really like this album. Having been kind of born and raised in and around the prairies, I never really got too much of a maritime influence. So it's only been recently that I've started exploring Celtic tradition, more notably across the pond in Ireland and Scotland. But, obviously there's a huge influence on the eastern part of Canada. And I've never actually been to the Maritimes, so I would definitely like to do that. Yes. This album really put me in the mood to, I'm going to Scotland in a couple of months here, actually. So a lot of the songs I listened to made it onto my Scotland playlist for the airplane because I close my eyes and I just tap my foot. And it doesn't really matter. Every single track on this album to me was like expressive in its own way, and you can definitely hear the influence of, the time. And, it was a '90s album, so you could hear the sort of the grunge influence and the pop that Darren mentioned in and around the music. But I think the fiddle and that just the Celtic vibe really was strong in this, and everything else was just kind of, I don't know. I'm at a lack of words here, but it all played together in a very, very interesting way, and I really enjoyed it.
Did you have a favorite track coming out of this, or?
Yeah, there were a few. Wingstock was really good. I thought Sophia's Pipes, that was, if memory serves, that was more of a traditional sounding one that was really cool. And actually Beaton's Delight, the first track, after you get over the weird little introductory bit, I was really vibing into that one a lot too. So yeah, I mean, the whole album, I think from my perspective, was really solid. It's quite different than the kind of music I grew up listening to. I had known about Ashley MacIsaac back in the day. I mean, The Devil in the Kitchen was on heavy rotation on Much Music when when music videos were on TV in the first place. So that was at the extent of my exposure to him. So it was kind of just like a flash in the pan for me, kind of like, I'd forgotten entirely about this guy until, Scott, you had picked it.
Did you watch the Sleepy Maggie video for this
did.
one? That is some messed up stuff, man, with like that Boy George looking woman singing and
yeah. And you sit there and try and figure out what the hell she's saying until you realize it's all in some Gaelic. Yeah, who knows what that song's about? I didn't even bother looking it up, but it's a good one.
The lyrics
that one
are
also
messed
made it
up,
onto
man.
my Scotland playlist.
Nice.
It's about smoking crack, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it might be.
And the
If
difficulties
video
of
is
finding it.
anything to go by. Yes.
Cool. What about you, Scott?
I've been really kind of not looking forward to this because I'm surprised. I always want to like someone's pick, and I actually feel really bad when I don't like someone's pick. Because I feel like I'm like against that person. And I lived in PEI for 5 years as a kid, so I heard a reasonable amount of fiddle when I was there. And I knew Sleeping Maggie, and I just sort of thought, I'm like, oh, I like fiddle music. I like East Coast music. This is going to be great. And I put it on, and I was like, first song, I'm like, oh, okay, this is fun. Second song, I'm like, is this the second song, or is this still more of the first song? And then the third song, I'm like, wow, this sounds a lot like the first and second song. And then I started to quickly feel irritated, and I found myself realizing that I like a couple fiddle songs, but then past two or three, it just kind of sounds the same. And I think if I was around 500 people or I was in a bar with people and you were dancing around and celebrating, I could probably do it all night. But sitting in my office or sitting in my house, hearing that fiddle, it really drove me crazy. it's a terrible thing to say.
You know what, Scott, just to jump in, I would fully agree that, I don't, as much as I'm from the Maritimes and I'm a fan of this genre of music, I rarely listen to it. But you're right, to see it live is sometimes just the live performance is where it's at. And if you're in the old Dublin pub in Charlottetown, PEI, and you see a guy like Richard Wood or an Ashley MacIsaac, and I've seen Great Big Sea in that same bar, like you're just like, wow, this is like amazing. But I think it does lose some of it if you're just listening to it over and over in a CD or a record.
Yeah, and I thought those first four songs I felt the same way, that it just felt like they were just rising in tempo, but that there wasn't a lot of difference between them apart from that. So I get you there.
I'm glad to hear you say that, Scott, because I listened to it about 2.5 times over about 8 listens. I literally never made it through the whole album, which is a shame, but I found the first half. Yeah, the first half, I was just like, this is just the same song. And then the second half, I'll give it, was much better. Like What an Idiot He Is. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of different, doable, like kind of enjoyed it. Sad Wedding Night, I enjoyed. And then, Hills of Glenarchy, I don't know how you say it, was nice.
Yeah,
and, enjoyed the guitar. I was like, oh, okay, we have some guitar in here. Like, this is totally different. And then Brenda Stewart was okay. So I definitely, like, sitting listening to an album, prefer the back half. The front half, I just found repetitive. And I think I just learned from myself, like, fiddle music, I think, again, I'd love it at a party. I'd love it at a concert, at a festival. But, man, this just absolutely drove me crazy trying to listen to it at home. And I'm sorry, but I was like, oh, God, like, this is tough.
That's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a weird dude.
I can feel there, right? Because when I look at kind of my notes here and look at the songs that I've said I like the most, it was like Brenda Stubart because there was the synth work that he threw in there, Wingstock for the piano intro leading into like the accompaniment and that, and then McDougall's Pride, which is like the 5th track, which is the complete departure from that front half of the album, which is just, you know, some hard fiddling that goes faster and faster and faster until all of a sudden, you know, you're crying in a corner listening to McDougall's Pride kind of thing. So I think the biggest letdown for me, though, which you didn't mention surprisingly, was Spoon Boy doesn't sound anything like Spoon Man.
Yeah.
I was fully going into that expecting some nice Soundgarden-esque kind of riffs, and it wasn't there. So
They were definitely missing some Chris Cornell vocals.
that's right.
Yeah.
It was a jaunty little tune, but no Chris Cornell.
I love the
appearance.
spoons. Playing spoons is awesome.
I
I
know.
can play spoons.
Yeah, actually, I've seen you play spoons, Scott Coach. You're pretty good at it.
Yeah. Might have to crank them out this summer again.
He probably kept the spoon because you need something to put the lighter under, but
Yeah. But I mean, Ashley McIsaac, this guy's a tortured soul. I mean,
He is.
he's a couple of years younger than me. I think 75 he was born in, so he's about 42. Is that right?
he will
43?
be 42 depending on what time of year it is.
Yeah, I mean, but he's born in like small town Nova Scotia, and I can tell you, like in the 70s, 80s, and he's gay, so he didn't come out until quite late in life. Like, I'll tell you what, that is probably not accepted there. So he's probably starting out pretty, disturbed and feeling not accepted by anyone. I thought it was
Yeah.
interesting too that he plays a right-handed fiddle left-handed.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
strings it, you know, left-handed still. So
Yeah. And when he says that he actually, when everybody thought he was crazy, but he said, oh, for fiddling, like it tends to be a lot of higher notes. They don't usually stay on the lower notes that much.
yeah.
And when you're getting into the fiddling, he's like, well, the higher notes are just on the top for me now. It's just easier. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm
I was like, oh, okay.
pretty good idea.
You're the man.
Well argued. And apparently he ran for the Liberal leadership.
Yes.
2006. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did the little
Maritimes are
bio
notoriously
scrape on him.
liberal as a political influence in the Maritimes. So yeah, I guess he ran. And then he dropped out, and I think people are like, yeah, you were literally on crack. Although, hey, Rob Ford pretty much.
That is
But-
true.
Yeah.
That's premier elect to.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
And then
that's
he
his
was
brother.
on an episode of Conan, I can't remember, back in the day, and like he had a kilt
Oh,
on.
the
and-
kick.
yeah, and he kicked and flashed to the crowd, and I guess they blurred it out on TV, but like anybody there got to see his twig and berries.
Hello. How you
He
doing?
wears his kilt regimental.
They got to
Yeah,
see.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing I found out, maybe you saw this too. He's actually a cousin of Jack White. Did you know that?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I didn't know that.
You know, it's funny. I didn't know
Small
that,
world.
but I had heard Jack White had relatives or his family come through Nova Scotia or something. His family was originally Canadian and migrated to the U.S., some of them. And I had that. So anyway, yeah, that's interesting.
It's kind of funny because it always seems like musicians, there's these family ties where
yeah.
there's 1 or 2 degrees of separation usually between one really good artist and another. It seems, not all of them, mind you, but they always seem to come up in bunches. So
Yeah, well, in the Maritimes, there's definitely names. Like I remember I dated a Rankin, and that was
Oh,
a big
yeah.
deal. You're dating a Rankin,
the Rankin
Like
family.
Rankin?
MacIsaac or the McMasters, and obviously like Sarah
Yeah.
McLaughlin. Like it's always a mix and match.
Close to Canadian royalty there.
I know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we can get into some ratings here if we want. Do we want to get the downer out of the way first?
Is that me?
No.
Yeah,
You know who
it's
you
a
are.
tough one. It definitely didn't influence my taste, so I just got to give it a 1. Overall, I'm going to give it a 2, and not because it's a bad album. It really didn't speak to me. Like I said, I found myself irritated and almost a little angry by about the 4th song. It's definitely worth. Would I recommend it to others? Yeah, I'll give it a 4 on that one, because if someone's a real music fan and you want to experience some East Coast Canadian music, sure, I'll give it a 4 there. Influence, taste, a 1. And overall, I'm sorry, guys, I got to give it a 2.
Awesome. Alan?
This influenced my taste a lot. Like I'd mentioned before, I didn't really have too much exposure until very recently into the whole Celtic music vibe, and the fact that he's Canadian, there's some national pride there. So I'm definitely gonna explore the rest of his discography and see, what else, who else sounds like this, and add it on my Scottish playlist. Yeah, so that's a 5 for sure.
Nice.
I actually really enjoyed this album a lot more than I expected to. I was pretty excited when you picked it, Scott. So for me, I'd say 4.5 or 5 all around.
Oh, really?
High marks for me on this one.
What about you, Darren?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll go. I thought, originally I was like, I'm just gonna have to give it 5s being a Maritimer. But as I listened to it and I realized, almost similar to you, Scott Coates, like I actually still really like it, but I did realize it is definitely in that genre. And I think I've said this before. Things are either something like, would I buy this in vinyl because I really love it, versus would I buy it in an MP3 or just listen to it on Spotify. Or just randomly on a playlist. And I think this is definitely in that randomly on a playlist. But I'm still going to give it overall. But for recommend, I'm going to give a 4. I agree. I think it's worth listening to just for the style of music and understand East Coast Canadian music. Although this particular album is a little more poppy in songs than you would ever hear in most bars there. Influence, like even though I was from there, I would say honestly that's just only a 3 for me. I love it, but I just didn't think it influenced my musical taste that much. I mean, I think he influenced a lot of others. And overall, I'm landing on a 4. That's kind of where I'm coming up for him, which is, I guess, high.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
I'm surprised it's not a 5 for me, I guess. But
Wow. Well, I'll give an influence of 4. It was right in a phase where I was listening to a lot of Sloan, a lot of Great Big Sea. Like there was a lot of Eastern Coast music coming my way that I was really vibing with. I had this on CD. It was one of the few CDs I actually bought in that time frame, and I just listened to it like it was this and maybe a couple like U2. Yeah. This was really on repeat play with U2. Yeah, it blew my socks off at the point. Yeah. And so I'll give it, as far as the album quality itself, like a 4, but a 5 for influencing others. I think not only are people going to potentially not have a lot of experience with fiddle music, and so this is good. This is a different fiddle music album, right? So you're getting a unique sound inside of a fairly off the beaten track musical style. So definitely I think everyone should listen to this, which kind of averages out to an overall of 4.5 for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an old favorite for mine. I hadn't listened to it in a long time, and I'm kind of glad I dusted it off.
That's good stuff. He won a Juno for it. Sold 200,000 in Canada. So, I mean, it was a popular album.
Yeah.
Totally. Double platinum.
Yeah.
Say what?
What? Here's an autobiography you can read if you want. Fiddling with Disaster.
Really? I like that title. That's a good title.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure it'd be pretty dark.
Maybe. There probably are some highs and lows. Yeah, not to spoil it in any way. Cool. Well, that is the wrap up on May 2018 Sonic Collective pick. How Are You Today by Ashley MacIsaac. I believe Darren is up next, and we've got another round of themed content. Did I understand correctly?
Yeah, so we're doing another round of live albums.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'll start it off. As of yet, I'm not sure. I've switched about 8 times, so I'm not sure. I think I'm going to go. I won't say what I'm thinking, obviously, but I think I'm going to go obscure. I don't think you're going to find it on the top 50 live albums of all time. I doubt it's going to be there.
Sweet.
I'll leave it at that.
Cool.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Well, I'm looking forward to that too. So check in. They might already be up, the selection alongside this one, depending on when you're checking the board. Stay tuned and join us in June when Darren picks the first live album for the Sonic Collective's rotation. Night, everybody.